comments on Jack Del Rio in a minute, but I want an update on where we are, because the last time we talked to you and a couple of other senators, we were all under the impression that June 1st there was going to be some type of vote that hasn't happened yet and may or may not happen, and I guess you have until the 17th is some date I keep hearing for some reason. So what is actually going on?
Yeah, that's right. So the last time we were in Richmond, June 1st, was to vote on the budget, and that would have been a window of opportunity to take a vote on the stadium bill. That vote did not happen. It was pushed off. The conference reports are not signed yet. And so the next available time is when we go back to deal with the governor's amendments to the budget. And so that's our last scheduled meeting. It's not a date. It could be the 17th, could be a couple days after that. It depends on when he sends back down the amendments to the budget bill.
Is it you said the conference reports or confidence? What was the word there?
Yeah, conference reports. So
what does
the stadium
that mean?
bill, the House version, when there's disagreement between the chambers, it goes to a conference committee, and they have to produce a conference report, which basically is a compromise bill. That conference report has not been signed. That would be basically the final version of the bill that we would have to vote on.
And that would be the specifics on how much money you'd be giving, if and any, all of those things.
Exactly.
Okay. So are we sure that happens and there is a vote, or is there a chance that never happens and there's no vote?
I think at this point, I don't think there ever will be a vote. I think they're going to be counting heads on the numbers and the number of people voting, yes or no. And my guess is the vote's probably off the table.
Do you think that was the case before Jack Del Rio said words? Or do you think that was or is that now kind of the nail in the coffin, so to speak?
I think this is the nail in the coffin. I think you're going to see more legislators now that have already been cooling off to it just shake their heads and walk away. I think that's where we're at now.
So I guess I have two follow-ups to that. The first is, and you have to forgive me here, I like talking about sports, and I'm out of my depth when I start talking about politics. But to my knowledge, there are 40 state senators in Virginia, and I think it's 21-19 Democrats to Republicans, correct?
That's correct.
So I don't know enough to know that what I'm about to say is true, but I would imagine that it would seem like one of the parties would have a big issue with what Jack Del Rio said, not both necessarily. Do you think it's an issue for people from both sides of the aisle, or just your side of the aisle?
Well, I think it's probably a mix in terms of the vote, because I think you'll probably have some folks that probably don't want to see the stadium outside of any partisanship.
So there are Republican voters that have been no's on getting the stadium done.
Yes.
Okay. And then the other question I would have is just on Del Rio's comments, because for people that don't know what Jeremy McPike tweeted today, he came off the top rope, as we said.
That is a great way to express it.
Lowered the elbow like a wrestler from the 80s. He says, "This just sealed the deal to cast my vote as a no. I think what's burning down today is the stadium bill." And that was a retweet of a video of what Jack Del Rio said about what happened on January 6th. So I guess the fair follow-up would be, is anyone's opinion going to change? Because we're talking about $1 billion project and jobs and business and all these things, and one guy having hot political takes and popping off on Twitter and saying something behind a podium seems like not the best reason not to do a stadium if you were going to do it. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, so if that were the case and it was just him, but it's not, right? You guys have covered this. I mean, there's plenty of other stuff going on, unfortunately, in the organization, that it creates a lot of questions. And not only that, as you remember last time we talked, I said my number one issue is traffic and transportation. I have not heard anything about how they're going to deal with it. And so I said, I'd listen. I met with Jason Wright after we talked on the show last time. I met with him last week. And frankly, I was also scheduled to sit down with him tomorrow.
Wow.
But that's off. I'm not going. I mean, it's just done. I mean, there's too much stuff going on in the organization. Too many unanswered questions. I mean, they got to get it together. I'm a lifelong fan. I love seeing football and good football. And I said last time, I'll say it again, I believe in Ron, and I think they're going to have a good season. But dang, I mean, how many distractions can you put on the table at once?
Virginia Senator Jeremy McPike.